My name is Maya, and I used to think family meant unconditional love. I was wrong. It started with a text message 3 days before New Year's Eve. My mother's name flashed on my screen. Family dinner Saturday. 7 p.m. Don't be late. No, how are you? No, we miss you. Just a command, like I was being summoned to court rather than invited to celebrate. I should have known then. Should have remembered the pattern. The last-minute invitations that always came with invisible strings attached. But there's this stupid, hopeful part of me that kept believing maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time, they'd actually want me there. I wore my best dress, the navy one with the subtle shimmer that I'd saved for months to buy. I did my hair in loose waves, the way my mother always said made me look presentable. I even brought an expensive bottle of wine, though I couldn't really afford it. When I walked into their house, the sprawling suburban palace with the 3-car garage and the professionally landscaped yard, my brother Ryan was already there, drink in hand, laughing at something my father had said. They both turned when I entered, and the laughter died. "Oh," my father said, his voice flat. "You actually came." My mother materialized from the kitchen, her smile tight and practiced. "Jenna, darling, we weren't sure you'd make it." She emphasized my name like it was a correction, like she needed to remind everyone, including herself, who I was. Wait, let me pause here. You're probably confused. Yes, I'm Maya, but in this story, I'm telling you about my best friend Jenna. We've been inseparable since college, and what happened to her changed both our lives forever. She's given me permission to share this because she wants other people trapped in toxic family situations to know they're not alone. So when I say my mother or my family, I'm speaking as Jenna, living through her eyes. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand why her story became mine too. This is going to be a long story, but I promise every minute matters. Maybe grab a coffee or get comfortable, because what happened next will make your blood boil. The dinner table was set like something out of a magazine. White linens, crystal glasses, candles flickering in silver holders. My seat was at the far end, physically separated from everyone else by at least 3 feet of polished wood. Not subtle. Ryan's wife, Chelsea, was there too, wearing a bracelet I didn't recognize. Diamonds caught the candlelight as she reached for her wine glass. "That's gorgeous," I said, trying to make conversation. "It should be," Ryan said, not looking at me. "Cost me enough." My father chuckled. Ryan knows how to treat his wife right. Sets the bar high. The implication hung in the air like smoke. I was 29 and single. This, apparently, was another one of my failures. Dinner was served, some elaborate chicken dish with a French name I couldn't pronounce. We ate in relative silence, punctuated only by my family's conversations that deliberately excluded me. They talked about Ryan's promotion, about the upcoming cruise my parents were planning, about renovations to the lake cabin. The lake cabin. Even hearing about it made my chest tighten. They'd been going there for years, posting photos on social media of their perfect family getaways. I was never invited. When I was younger, they told me it was because there wasn't enough room. As I got older, the excuses became vaguer: "It's just not your kind of place," or "We need family time," as if I wasn't family. Then my father cleared his throat, the signal that an announcement was coming. Everyone's attention turned to him like he was a king addressing his court. "I want to make a toast," he said, raising his glass, "to another successful year. To Ryan's achievements. To the cabin, our sanctuary. And—" He paused, his eyes finally landing on me. "To family. Even the ones who are still trying to figure out their place in the world." My mother laughed. A high, brittle sound. "Oh, Martin, be nice." "I am being nice," he said. "I'm acknowledging reality. Jenna, sweetheart, we love you. But let's be honest. You're 29. You're working part-time at that little coffee shop, doing your art on the side, living in that tiny apartment. When are you going to get serious about life?" My fork felt heavy in my hand. "I am serious about my life." Ryan snorted. "Making lattes isn't a career, Jen. I'm a graphic designer. The coffee shop is just temporary while I build my portfolio." "For how many years now?" My father's voice was sharp. 5, 6. That's not temporary. That's called failing. The word hit me like a slap. Chelsea looked down at her plate. Even she seemed uncomfortable, and she'd never been my ally. My mother reached over and patted my hand. The gesture was meant to be comforting, but her grip was just a little too tight. We only invited you tonight because, well, she glanced at my father. We felt sorry for you. Spending New Year's Eve alone seemed cruel. But darling, you can't stay too long, okay? We have real celebrations planned with real friends later. The room tilted. I heard the words, understood their meaning, but my brain refused to process the cruelty behind them. These were the people who raised me. These were the people who were supposed to love me unconditionally. Out of pity, I repeated, my voice barely a whisper. Don't be dramatic, Ryan said. They're trying to help you. Maybe if you listened instead of being so sensitive all the time, you'd actually make something of yourself. Something inside me cracked. Not broke, cracked. Like ice that's been bearing too much weight for too long, finally beginning to fracture. But I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't give them the reaction they probably expected. Instead, I did something I'd never done before. I smiled. Thank you for dinner, I said, standing up. My legs felt steady, my voice calm. And thank you for your honesty. My mother blinked, confused. You're leaving already? You asked me not to stay long. I picked up my purse, left the expensive wine untouched on the counter. I'm just respecting your wishes. I walked out of that house with my head high and my hands steady. I didn't let myself cry until I was 3 blocks away, pulled over on a side street, gripping the steering wheel while my whole body shook. They pitied me. They'd gathered me there to remind me of my place, beneath them, outside their circle of success, permanently othered. But as the tears dried and my breathing steadied, something else emerged. Clarity. I'd spent years trying to earn their approval, believing their version of my story. The struggling daughter. The family disappointment. The one who needed them more than they needed me. What if that story was wrong? This is where everything changes. Keep listening, because Jenna is about to discover something that will flip her entire world upside down. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I did something I'd been avoiding for years. I opened the filing cabinet in my closet and started pulling out documents. My credit report. Bank statements. That folder of important papers my parents had given me years ago with instructions to keep safe but don't worry about. Legal documents I'd signed without fully reading because my parents assured me it was just formalities and for your own good. By 3 a.m., I had papers spread across my entire living room floor and a sick feeling growing in my stomach. By 6 a.m., I was calling the one person I knew could help me make sense of this, my college roommate, who also happened to be one of the best contract lawyers in the state. Maya, I said when she answered, my voice hoarse. I need you to look at something. And I think I need you to tell me I'm not crazy. She showed up at my apartment 2 hours later with coffee and her laptop bag. Maya took one look at my face and didn't ask questions, just sat down and started reading. She read for 20 minutes in complete silence while I paced my apartment, alternating between rage and disbelief. Finally, she looked up. Jenna, do you understand what these documents say? I think so, but I need you to confirm it. Maya pulled out a document, the deed to the lake cabin. This cabin. The one your family treats as their personal vacation home. The one they've been posting about for years. It's in your name. Only your name. You're the sole legal owner. My legs gave out. I sat down hard on the floor. And these, she continued, pulling out more papers, are joint credit card accounts. But you're not the joint holder. You're the primary account holder. Your parents and brother are authorized users. That means you're legally responsible for all the charges. That can't be right. They told me. They told you wrong. Or they lied. Take your pick. Maya's lawyer voice was clinical, but I could hear the anger underneath. Jenna, look at this statement. $60,000 in charges over the past 2 years. Vacations, restaurants, jewelry. That bracelet Chelsea was wearing? Charged to your account 3 weeks ago. The room spun. I don't have $60,000. No, but you have good credit. Or you did. They've been using your name as their personal bank. She kept going, and with each revelation, the picture became clearer and more horrifying. There was an emergency line of credit my brother had opened with me as a co-applicant, something I vaguely remembered signing paperwork for years ago when he said he needed my help with a business opportunity. $15,000 outstanding. Utility bills for my parents' house listed under my social security number as a backup account holder, which they'd never told me about. And the cabin, the beautiful 3-bedroom lake house with the boat dock and the view that made everyone's Instagram photos look magical, was titled solely in my name, with mortgage payments I'd never made showing as mysteriously current. How? I whispered. How is this possible? Maya's expression was grim. Estate planning, probably. They put assets in your name to protect them from creditors or lawsuits, or maybe for tax purposes. It's not technically illegal if you consented, but… She gestured at the documents. Did you actually understand what you were consenting to? Did they fully disclose what they were doing? I thought back to all those times my father had handed me papers to sign. Just routine stuff. Protecting your future. Trust me, honey. I trusted him. I'd been a stupid, naive 22-year-old who believed her family had her best interests at heart. What can I do? My voice sounded hollow. Maya looked me straight in the eye. Legally, everything. That cabin is yours. Those accounts are in your name. You have the power here, Jenna. They just made sure you never realized it. But they're my family. Family that invited you to dinner to mock you. Family that's been using your credit and your name to fund their lifestyle while you work 2 jobs to pay rent on a studio apartment. Maya's voice softened. Jenna, you're not stealing from them. You're taking your own name back. Can you imagine discovering your entire family has been financially using you? Keep listening, because Jenna's revenge is calculated, careful, and absolutely justified. Over the next 3 days, Maya and I built a case. Not for court, not yet, but for me. A clear understanding of exactly what my family had done and what my options were. The cabin was the biggest asset. Market value, approximately $800,000. Mortgage balance, $200,000. Equity, $600,000. All in my name. Maya made some calls. Turned out I could sell it. Tomorrow if I wanted to. But they'll fight it, I said. Let them. You're the legal owner. Your name. Your signature. Your property. They'd have to prove fraud or undue influence, and good luck with that when they've been posting photos from their cabin for years, essentially claiming ownership publicly. I thought about those photos. My mother's carefully curated posts about our family sanctuary. My father's retirement plans that apparently revolved around spending summers there. Ryan's engagement photos taken on that dock. All of it built on my name. My credit. My legal responsibility. And none of them had ever once said thank you. I want to sell it, I said. Maya smiled. I was hoping you'd say that. I know a real estate attorney who specializes in quick, quiet sales. Cash buyers who won't ask questions. We could have papers signed within a week. A week, I repeated. 1 week to dismantle the foundation of their financial security. 1 week to take back what was mine. There's one more thing, Maya said. Once you do this, there's no going back. Your family will know. They'll be furious. Are you prepared for that? I thought about my father's face when he called me a failure. My mother's casual cruelty disguised as concern. Ryan's smirk when he told me to get serious about life. I'm prepared, I said. The sale moved faster than I'd imagined. Maya's contact found a buyer, some investment company looking for lakefront property, who offered $750,000 cash, as is. I signed the papers on January 6th, exactly 1 week after that dinner. But selling the cabin was only the beginning. With Maya's guidance, I systematically closed every joint account that had my name attached. The credit cards were the easiest. I simply called and revoked authorized user status for my family members. The line of credit Ryan had opened was more complicated, but Maya filed the paperwork to freeze it and request my removal as co-applicant. Every account I closed, I documented. Every phone call I recorded with proper legal consent, Maya assured me. Every document I copied and filed in triplicate. Paper trail, Maya explained. When they come after you, and they will, you need proof that you did everything by the book. I also did something else. I went to see the family's estate lawyer. Harold Wheeler had handled my parents' affairs for 20 years. When I called his office and said I needed to discuss some documents, he assumed it was routine. He did not expect me to walk in with Maya and 3 folders of evidence. Ms. Chen, he said, using my last name with the kind of formality lawyers employ when they're nervous. I wasn't aware you had concerns about your estate planning. My estate planning? I placed the cabin deed on his desk. Mr. Wheeler, did you advise my parents to put their vacation home in my name? His face went pale. Those were complex family financial arrangements made for asset protection purposes. Asset protection from what? He didn't answer directly. Your parents wanted to ensure certain properties would pass smoothly to the next generation while minimizing tax burden. By making me legally responsible for a $200,000 mortgage I didn't know existed? Wheeler adjusted his glasses. You signed all the relevant paperwork, Ms. Chen. I signed paperwork my parents told me was routine. I was 22. I trusted them. I leaned forward. Now I'm 29, I have a lawyer, and I want to know exactly what else you've put in my name without my full understanding. The meeting lasted 2 hours. By the end, I had a complete picture of my family's financial manipulation, and Wheeler had agreed to draft new documents clearly separating my assets from theirs, assuming I didn't pursue a malpractice claim against him for inadequate disclosure. Maya called it productive negotiation. I called it watching a grown man realize he'd helped my family commit legal fraud. The phone calls started on January 7th. My mother first. Jenna, honey, there's been some kind of mistake with the cabin. The mortgage company says the property was sold? Obviously, there's an error. No error, Mom. I sold it. Silence. Then, you what? I sold the cabin. It was in my name. I'm the legal owner. I sold it to a cash buyer. The closing is next week. You can't do that. That's our family home. No, Mom. It's my property that you used without asking me. She hung up. 2 minutes later, my phone started buzzing with texts. My father. Ryan. Even Chelsea, who I'd barely spoken to in years. I turned off my phone and went to work my coffee shop shift. Let them spiral. I had lattes to make and a newfound sense of peace to protect. The fallout is about to get intense. If you're enjoying this story of someone finally standing up to their toxic family, keep listening. The best part is still coming. By January 10th, my family had figured out it wasn't just the cabin. The frozen credit cards. The emergency line they could no longer access. The utility accounts I'd closed. Ryan showed up at my apartment at 10 p.m., pounding on the door. I didn't answer at first. Just watched through the peephole as my brother, my successful superior brother, completely lost his composure in my hallway. Finally, I opened the door. Ryan. Calling ahead is customary. What the hell, Jenna? You froze my emergency credit line. I have expenses. That's interesting, because I have expenses too. Like the $15,000 balance you ran up on a line of credit using my name. That was for business. Then pay it yourself. I'm no longer liable for your business ventures. His face turned red. You can't do this. You can't just cut us off. Watch me. Dad's going to what? I kept my voice level. Call the police? I own the cabin legally. Those accounts were in my name. I haven't broken any laws, Ryan. But you know who has. Anyone who opened accounts using someone else's name without their full consent. He stared at me like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. Maybe the Jenna he knew, the pushover, the failure, the family doormat, didn't exist anymore. You've changed, he said finally. No. I just stopped pretending I hadn't noticed what you were doing. My father came next, 3 days later. He didn't knock. He had a key to my apartment, something I'd forgotten about until I heard the lock turning. I looked up from my laptop. Breaking and entering, Dad? Bold choice. This is still my daughter's apartment. I helped you move in. Helped meaning what? Co-signed the lease? No, you didn't. You have no legal right to be here, and I'm asking you to leave. He didn't move. Just stood there in my doorway, this man who'd once seemed so tall and powerful, now looking somehow diminished. We need to talk about the cabin, he said. Nothing to talk about. It's sold. Closing is tomorrow. You can't. I can. I did. It's done. Jenna. His voice cracked, and for a second, I saw something I'd never seen before. Fear. That cabin is our retirement plan. Your mother and I were going to. We're going to what? Retire using my asset? Live off my equity? Did you ever, even once, think about what would happen to me if you defaulted on that mortgage? Did you care that my credit was on the line? We were protecting it for you. No. I stood up, met his eyes. You were protecting yourselves using me. There's a difference. He tried a different approach. Family takes care of each other. You're right. Family should take care of each other. But you didn't take care of me, Dad. You used me. There's a difference. What do you want? He asked finally. Money. Is this about money? We can pay you back. With what? The cabin proceeds you don't have access to? The credit cards I've closed? The accounts you can't use anymore? I shook my head. I don't want your money. I want you to leave. You're making a mistake. No, Dad. I made a mistake trusting you. This is me correcting it. Now get out of my apartment before I call the police. He left. I changed the locks that afternoon. The final confrontation came at Harold Wheeler's office on January 18th. My entire family, summoned for an emergency estate meeting. They didn't know I'd be there too. The looks on their faces when I walked in with Maya were priceless. What is she doing here? My mother demanded. Ms. Chen is my client, Wheeler said carefully. She has every right to be present for discussions about her own assets. Her assets. Ryan laughed bitterly. Those are family assets. Actually, Maya said, placing a folder on the conference table, they're Jenna's assets that your family has been misusing. Mr. Wheeler has been kind enough to review all the relevant documents, and we're here to formalize some necessary corrections. For the next hour, Maya systematically destroyed every argument my family made. The cabin, legally mine, legally sold. The credit cards, legally closed. The emergency funds, my responsibility to manage, not theirs to drain. My father tried the emotional approach. We're family. Family doesn't do this to each other. You're right, I said quietly. Family doesn't mock each other at dinner. Family doesn't use each other's credit without permission. Family doesn't invite you over out of pity and then ask you to leave early so the real celebration can begin. But you did all those things. So maybe we need to redefine what family means. My mother was crying. We gave you everything. You gave me shame and debt and a lifetime of feeling like I wasn't enough. The only thing I'm taking back is my name. By the end of the meeting, new documents were signed. Clear boundaries established. My name removed from every entanglement except those that were legitimately mine. The cabin proceeds, all $730,000 after closing costs, deposited into an account only I controlled. The aftermath was quieter than I expected. My family stopped calling. Their social media presence changed almost overnight. Fewer vacation photos, fewer posts about their perfect life. I heard through mutual acquaintances that they'd had to downgrade their lifestyle. My parents postponed their cruise. Ryan sold his boat. I used the cabin money responsibly. Paid off my legitimate debts. Put a down payment on a real studio space for my graphic design work. Invested in index funds on Maya's advice. Kept the rest in savings as a cushion, the security I'd never had before. 3 months later, my mother sent me a letter. Not a text. A handwritten letter on her expensive stationery. Jenna. Asterisk, I owe you an apology that I don't know how to give. Your father and I convinced ourselves we were helping you, protecting you, securing your future. But we were really protecting ourselves and controlling you. That distinction matters, and I'm sorry it took losing everything for me to see it. Asterisk. Asterisk, you were right. We used you. We made you feel small so we could feel big. And when you finally stood up, we tried to guilt you back into place because that's what we'd always done. Asterisk. Asterisk, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that I see what we did now. And I'm ashamed. Asterisk. Asterisk, I hope someday we can rebuild something real. Something honest. But I understand if that day never comes. Asterisk. Mom. I cried when I read it. Not because it changed anything, but because it was the first time my mother had ever truly seen me. I wrote back a short note. Mom. Asterisk, thank you for your apology. I accept it, but I need you to understand that acceptance doesn't mean reconciliation. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I need time and space to heal from years of manipulation disguised as care. Asterisk. Asterisk, if we rebuild, it will be on new terms. No more financial entanglements. No more expectations that I'll be the family safety net. No more comparing me to Ryan or anyone else. Asterisk. I need you to see me as I am, not as who you wanted me to be. Jenna. It's been a year now since that New Year's Eve dinner. Maya and I are closer than ever. She jokes that she should charge me friendship rates for all the legal advice, but she never does. My graphic design business is growing. I have clients. I have savings. I have peace. My father and I have spoken twice. Brief, formal conversations where he acknowledged what happened but never quite apologized. That's okay. I've stopped waiting for his validation. Ryan hasn't contacted me at all. Chelsea divorced him 6 months after the cabin sale. I heard he's living with my parents again, working to rebuild his credit. I don't feel sorry for him. My mother and I have coffee sometimes. Supervised visits, I call them jokingly. We talk about safe things, books, weather, her garden. We don't talk about the past. Maybe someday we will. Or maybe this careful distance is all we'll ever have. I'm okay with either outcome. If this story resonated with you, please share it. There are so many people out there who are being used by their families and don't even realize it. You are not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm, even if those people raised you. Here's what I want you to know, whoever you are, listening to this story. You are allowed to protect yourself from people who hurt you, even if they're family. You are allowed to set boundaries, even if those boundaries make other people uncomfortable. You are allowed to check your credit report, review documents you signed years ago, and ask questions about financial arrangements that don't make sense. You are allowed to outgrow the role your family chose for you. And you are allowed to take back your name, your credit, and your life, no matter how much guilt they throw at you for doing it. Family love should not come with a price tag printed in your social security number. My name is Maya, telling you Jenna's story with her permission, and I want you to know, if you're in a situation like hers, there is a way out. It won't be easy. It will probably hurt. But on the other side of that pain is something Jenna never had before. Freedom. And trust me, freedom is worth fighting for.